I'd say 100%, man, 100%. It was mad, yeah, because I feel, yeah, when I dropped Life's a Bitch, like, I kind of dropped it and had one gig for the launch party, and then like one smaller showcase kind of gig, and then straight away it was COVID basically, so it was like 3 months, maybe 4, and this didn't really give like any time to see how it was interacting with people in the real world, you know. Obviously you can see online, you can see like your socials growing, or you know, the numbers growing or whatever, but I almost didn't even realize, like, because I hadn't toured a lot or played a lot, like I hadn't played that album, like, you know, at any live shows really, apart from the headline launch show that I did. Yeah, it was, I kind of didn't realize until I actually did a show post COVID what it means to have those people there, like, you know, singing the lyrics back to you and just connecting with people and genuinely meeting these people face to face, you know. Who, yeah, I don't know, I realized that there's, without it, like, you're just losing like a massive community aspect also, man, and just seeing how your music can affect people in a positive way too. I usually have my vision kind of set out, but that's not saying that I wouldn't be open to trying some half-finished material. The only thing is, I feel like I get a bit like, I not that I don't want people hearing stuff, obviously, like I'm open to criticism and everything, like during the process and that, but sometimes especially with this new album, like I did have a very solid idea about how I wanted everything to be. And then it was like, cool, now that I'm, you know, I've created without kind of because I do find sometimes when people, you know, when you're halfway through a tune, you're like, oh, what should I do here? It's kind of like, it comes down to taste a lot of the time, you know. Two people might do completely different things, and I think that's fine if you know, you can weigh that up if you're not sure where to take it. But I think, yeah, with tunes that I know where they're going, I probably would finish them, and then, you know, it would just be a question of maybe arrangement that I would try out, like at the live show. You know, just how many, or to like extend it, like in, you know, in a live sense, have some like crowd interaction and whatnot. It's weird, man. I felt like the time away from like big social events and all of that kind of stuff, like, I don't know. I felt like it unlocked this weird part of my brain that I had been too busy to really get properly into. So I feel like it was weird. It kind of helped creatively not doing shows for a while. And I guess like that goes hand in hand with not being distracted by the usual kind of like hustle and bustle and busyness of like everyday life, you know, too. But yeah, then that being said, man, I think something about live shows, like watching live shows, I mean, you know, I know this is obviously, it's one thing playing, but I find watching them, I get really inspired a lot of the time. And it's mad, I didn't realise how much I'd missed them until I actually went to some gigs and just like watched them. When I do my own shows and you have good reactions and people, you know, people are liking the new music that I try or whatever, that's also a good sign, man. That gives me confidence in what I'm about to drop too. It's a good way to just get a general idea of, you know, is the tune, can people sing it back easily, even though if they've never heard it before, or, you know, are people falling asleep a little bit, like, while you're playing it. It's basically just, I have the end product in my head, and I feel like to get it to the point where I want it just takes a lot of work, to be honest. And I think also life does get in the way a little bit, man. And although like I do dedicate every day I can to this, sometimes I've got to just, you know, find unexpected financial issues, you know, bills or whatever that come out of nowhere. And sometimes I've got to do a little bit of extra work on the side, or, you know, whatever it may be, basically.
Life's a bitch sometimes, right?
Exactly. And yeah, I definitely need an early night. Yeah, man. I feel like I didn't. To be honest, I hadn't even been to like a socially distanced show, and there was quite a large part of me that was like, oh fuck it, like I can't be asked to do like a socially distanced show. I'll just wait until But actually, I was just like, do you know what? It's a show and it's a good way to warm up things, you know, back into it, because I haven't played obviously for like a couple of years or a year and a half or whatever it was. And yeah, I don't know, it was quite chilled out, and I feel like it was quite strange playing music to people sitting down, because I feel like I've played to people sitting down, but that's usually just like some straight up jazz piano or some shit, you know. But it was proper nice though, man. I feel like that was like a little glimpse into, you know, meeting you guys and seeing like just random fans from Brighton. I've never really had that before, you know, of just people actually like taking the time to, you know, I don't know, just come down, and even though it was not the most ideal situation, just still have a really good time. And I don't know, it gave me confidence going into the next show, man, because that one kind of felt like a warm up, I would say. And I guess I tried a couple of tunes on that show as well, or maybe just the one new one.
Yeah.
And it was just really good vibes, and I had the band as well. That was the difference. I think obviously the first show I didn't have my band; it was just me and like a backing track and keys, which worked, and I feel like that's appropriate for certain shows for sure. But I do love playing with the band, to be honest. I think that's probably my favourite, because we all are really close friends anyway, and it's just very nice to share the stage with people, with your friends like that. Yeah, man. And to be honest, the fiddler because it was a bit more like, I don't know, it was like, I think that kind of like was because everyone was a bit more loose, and like it wasn't as uptight, you know. There wasn't at the Brighton show, there was bouncers like telling everyone to sit down and all that. It was just a bit tense, not tense, but just, you know what I mean. And I feel like it was just nice in the fiddler show, because yeah, man, everyone was just singing back the words, and like that's just something I'd never really had before, to the extent of like everyone sort of knowing every word. It was just fucking weird, man. But I'm extremely grateful too, you know, and it was just nice to meet people, chat to people, and like I actually just can't believe that people were that like into like, it's such a weird feeling, people actually into your music, man. I think it's like make or break, man. Like for me, the audience is like, the audience here, I feel like is an indicator of how the evening is gonna go. Sort of, you know, if it's like if it was for example, if it's a group of like people who don't know the music and don't care about it, don't want to hear it, like that, to me, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna feel that energy. Not that I feel like I've had a show like that, but like just as from one extreme, like, you know, I would constantly be like worrying that my music's just shit and they will hate it or something, compared to like, you know, the fiddler gig where everyone was just completely crazy basically, and like, you know, it was, yeah, I think it makes it so much easier. It makes the show like, it almost happens by itself. I feel like I don't even have to do anything, like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like, obviously there's a bit of nerves before it, but then it almost feels like it just happens by autopilot, you know, and genuinely wanting to be there. And I think, yeah, I mean, I'd kind of hope that's how it always is, do you know what I mean? I'd rather almost not do the show if it was an audience that wouldn't be that into it. There's definitely stuff I haven't been like taking on too many shows, man. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking like I don't want to overplay to places, you know, in London or in the UK or whatever, because I think it just makes it more special, man. If you focus on one night and make it really fucking like, just, you know, curate it in a way where it's going to be a really sick, like, memorable night, as opposed to just doing a fuckload of shows everywhere, like hit, like, I'd kind of keep it. I don't know, man. I think if people can come see you all the time, like, it becomes a bit less special. And obviously that's it is a very good way to build a fan base. Just playing on like random lineups with other artists too. But I don't know, I love it. I know it would never compare to like the energy of when I put on my own shows and like bring in my own supports and stuff, and like we're all friends, and so I haven't been taking on a lot basically. But yeah, this one show in November will be one of those ones where like I'm kind of curating it all, like with the supports and kind of I don't know, just have the family there and shit, and it'll feel very nice and wholesome probably. I think, like, as an artist, man, you got to remember, like, these are the people that are basically paying for you to, like, live. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're the people streaming your music, and the people buying merch and buying tickets to gigs. So it's like, it has to be this symbiotic relationship, man. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, you know, you're not going to exist if they're not there, if they don't exist, or if they're not there to actually enjoy your music. I guess the relationship is one of, quite like the idea of like meeting people face to face as well, and just chatting to people casually, you know, not trying to keep some mad like veil or distance between the two. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone's just a person at the end of the day as well, man. Like any like person who makes music or is, you know, well known for what they do is just, they've just put a lot of time into what they do, I guess, and decided that's their career or whatever. It feels like it genuinely is like a spiritual experience, man. And I don't mean to sound like new age or whatever, but it actually is. When you're on the same level and you're all there together on this kind of mad journey, yeah, it only really feels like whole if you are one with the audience, you know. I feel like if the us and them feels too, yeah, it doesn't, I wouldn't feel satisfied or wouldn't feel like. Something that I always like to do is like, we always like to just change the songs a little bit as well. So like not too much so they're kind of unrecognizable, but just a bit. And I think that takes a bit of extra work too, just to make things, you know, different and interesting on the night. Whether or not you're a musician yourself or an artist yourself, or whether you're just a fan, or I don't know, I think like it can be just really inspiring, to be honest, and it can give you, I think seeing a show like that can, not talking about myself necessarily, but just going to a show that you're really like come away from it like fucking hell, you know, you've just seen that in the flesh, and you've seen, you know, it's not like listening to like a record, for example, where you can kind of drift in and out. You know, you might get distracted by a text on your phone, like during one of the songs on that. You're kind of, when you're watching it live, you're forced to be there. Like, you know, if you can come away from it feeling like, I don't know, like inspiring, you know, whether it inspires you to just, you know, I don't know, whatever. But I think for me anyway, and I can only speak really as a fan, you know, and what it has felt like to go back to those shows. Yeah, I think quite a unsociable couple of years, you know. And I think connecting with people, i.e. your friends and, you know, strangers too. But, you know, when you come together as strangers, like with that shared purpose and shared love, there's something quite special in that, I think, as well.